borrowing, more taxing, and more government control of the free markets, which is why we have the 2,400-page Dodd-Frank legislation. I call it lovingly the Jobs and Housing Destruction Act, because that's what it is proved to be. And even after we were assured that all this regulation would protect us, we still have not protected either the economy or the investing public from events like this. So in order for us to regain our competitive edge in the global economy, we have to quickly pivot to do what we did when we were a wildly successful economy. Tax less, regulate less, encourage risk-taking more. Now you recall recently the passing of Steve Jobs. It saddened every one of us. He was more than the co-founder of Apple, he was an icon. He represented what is great about America, and Steve Jobs never settled. He constantly asked his employees if they had produced their best product. And who could have imagined that just a few years ago that you would have all your music, a still camera, a video camera, your photos, your phone, and an encyclopedia, all connected to the world at your fingertips. What Steve Jobs could, and he and his team changed our world for the better. And my guess is that many of you carry his vision with you to class every day, because the Steve Jobs spirit exists today. I know that 77% in a Wall Street Journal report said that all students want to be their own boss. 77% of all students want to be their own boss. And I imagine your professors can testify that that's probably true. 45% want to start your own business. 42% of you said, I will invent something that changes the world. I hope that's true. We need you to do that. Because the next generation of Steve Jobs are in this room right now, I believe, or here at this university, waiting to step up and drive the engine of American innovation and competition. We need you to be encouraged, and we need you to adapt to that type of thinking. But now take by comparison a government enterprise. It's called the post office. The post office yearns to remain committed to paying higher labor costs that bear absolutely no comparison to wages and benefits that are paid in the private sector. They are billions of dollars in the red, but yet they look to the taxpayer for money. But they're unwilling to look at their real problem, which is unrealistically high labor costs. Researchers, entrepreneurs, investors across the United States are today paralyzed by President Obama's anti-business policies that have created profound uncertainty in the marketplace. And as president, I will signal by way of leadership to innovators that the time again has come to unleash the genius of Adam Smith's invisible hand working to create the wealth of the nation. And what drives investment and the execution of innovative ideas is an environment that fosters it. Here's an example, Israel. Israel today enjoys 2.5 times the venture investments of the United States. That's because they've embraced a culture that believes in innovation. My plan at MicheleBachmann.com, Real Jobs right now, are aimed at fostering that very same innovative culture, which will turn the economy around and create the high-paying jobs that you will want once you leave this university. That part of producing an effective workforce means that we have to reform employment law. Iowa employees deserve the right to work, and the federal government's National Labor Relations Board shouldn't interfere with that right like they're doing right now in South Carolina. And former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, said it would be better if that company, Boeing, shuts down in South Carolina if they refuse to become a union shop. How sad if the United States gets to that point, when a former Speaker of the House believes it's better that we would lose 1,000 jobs if they aren't unionized. Reforming employment law also means it's easier to reward good employees and to find bad ones a new line of work. And it also means reforming our unemployment insurance system. It was created 50 years ago to help workers through temporary layoffs. Under the model, after business picked up, they could go back to the same job, to the same factory, at the same company, and sell to the same customers. But that's not the world that we live in now, because you see, due to government regulations and high uncompetitive taxes, when workers are laid off, unfortunately, the jobs aren't there to go back to. Because today, unemployment insurance, even by the admission of the newest economic council member to the president's own team, says that unemployment benefits are a disincentive to work, and they increase the length of time on joblessness. you see unemployment benefits don't create jobs. In the 1980s, Ronald Reagan enacted a tax reform that created a period of unparalleled prosperity. And in my plan, I intend to increase our competitiveness by following Reagan's blueprint for tax reform, which had at its core principle, stop taxing investment and productivity. Because the real world of taxation, I know this as a former federal tax lawyer, is not reducible to a soundbite or bumper sticker. What we need is a real national discussion about what kind of tax system we really want, what will produce the greatest job growth and productivity. And as the only tax professional in the race, I look forward to leading that discussion with serious talk about the principles of what it means to have a fairer, flatter, and simpler system. First of all, I want to say, it's only fair that everyone should contribute something to the core government services like national defense, our courts, our roads, and necessary infrastructure. Those are public goods. Everyone benefits, and everyone needs to pay something. It's only fair. I'm the only candidate in this race who believes everyone needs to pay something. Let's face it, freedom isn't free, and everyone benefits from freedom. And today we live in a nation where only 53% of Americans pay any federal income tax. 47% of Americans pay absolutely no federal income tax. People who pay nothing can easily forget the idea that there is no such thing as a free lunch. And second, even though everyone should pay something, those who can't afford to pay more should pay more. This is true not just in absolute terms. Someone at a higher income level should pay at least the same percentage of income as someone at a lower income level. That is the true Buffett rule. In other words, a flat tax should at least be flat and not tilted against lower and middle income families. Third, fairness also demands that government limits its claims on your hard work and on your talents, the talents of the people it taxes. Because the income that you earn is not the government's. This is a fundamental belief that we need to understand. The money that you earn is yours, pure and simple. It doesn't belong to governments. It's your money, you earned it. When people in Washington say things like, we can't afford a tax cut, they need to think about who the we is. It's your money, it's not the politicians. And when you say the government has first claim on the income earned through people's work and creativity, like President Obama has, then you're not far from saying that the people, that's us, belong to the government. But we don't. That's what the meaning of liberty is. The fundamental principle of a flatter tax system should be to level the playing field for everyone and all businesses. And the one thing that I think we all can agree on is that our tax system is not simple. Americans know this every time they get their 1040 tax form in the mail. Last year's Form 1040 had an instruction book. It was 179 pages long. And the problem was the lack of simplicity. It enabled the government to use the tax code as something other than merely a means to generate the revenue the government needs. It's actually a tool for social engineering by politicians and by the special interests that spend a lot of money on lobbyists that reside on K Street and prey on